guys, I got an email about the session that I did this week on the setting up the assignment when looking at the body. I didn't realise that the microphone wasn't turned on. I did the same mistake again, swear to God, schoolboy error. For that, huge apologies. I do need to get that fixed though, so what I intend to do is go through the same process again, but with sound. Who'd have thought sound would be so important? I'm going to move swift. I'm not going to mess around with this, so I'm going to go U-clan, and I'm going to take my target. In this case, if you remember, it was the shin. So what I'm going to do is actually model the profile around the shin. I can move a bit quicker though, because the beauty is with recording, you can hit pause. So let's go 3604. For everybody with Inventor, I'm going to do the same thing. Yeah, I've had a bit of a backwards and forwards week this week, so all I can say with that, guys, is apologies. Just these things happen, so I'm going to left click on shin and let's download the shin. So I've downloaded the shin, and as I said before, I like to put this into a project. It's just so I know where everything is. You know, I mean, the amount of times you move stuff and go, oh, I should have done this, should have done that. So I'll just call this project. And in this case, it's obviously just going to be a shin that I'm going for. So I'm going to go downloads and move that completely across. So I've moved that across, and all I'm going to do now is go open, go to desktop, going to go new, whoops, not that one, going to go project, going to go part. Now, all this will do now, read that step file, bring it in, and then, like before, we need to break some of this down as it comes in. Issue is with it, when it was drawn, this guy, I mean, I know I said this in the session, the original session that I recorded, this guy, I don't really know what he was doing. I don't really appreciate what this is for, but in our case, it's irrelevant. We do not care. So I'm going to simply go to the actual part, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go dissolve feature. So dissolve that feature out completely, give me the two major components I can operate with. The first import is marked as the target block that I don't want, so I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to delete, pull that out completely because I don't even want it back. I'm just after this point. Now, if we look at how this has been done, now if you see here, I've got a point I can actually look at. So if we consider this angle to be our point of attack, because you must admit, when something comes in, if you have a target to operate to, if I go like that, you look and go, well, the leg's not straight. You go, brilliant. So what you've got to do is try and build your planes to operate around it. So I'm going to go reference geometry and plane. I'm going to go from that point to that point to that point. And that then gives me what will be the equivalent of your front plane. So click OK. Then with that, I'm going to go sketch and sketch, Control and 8. And really what I want now is something to allow me to project this way as well. So I'm just going to go here, go construction line, and bring this down, which is, I mean, I could go there to capture that edge even better. But no, what we'll do is we'll go completely horizontal and then click OK. Reason I'm doing this is I'm going to create a tilt plane. So if I click on here and then go to my features, go reference geometry, plane, select on my plane, select on my geometry, and you look there, what's happened is it's gone to the plane, then it's selected the line and said make it coincident, and it automatically generates me with that perpendicular behavior. So now what I've got is what will be front and left plane. I don't need top, because this is about the front and the left plane angles. So first things first, let's start looking at what a shin guard would look like. I am going to very much eyeball the design of this, but this is just to show you approaches and how we can go about it. I tell you what, no, let's not do that. Let's bring in a shin guard. So I'll go shin guard. Something like that. Let's just pick one just for shits and giggles, let's just pick one and then target it from there. Now if you remember, this was the one that we looked at the other day, so let's stay with that. Look at this, this moves in the inside of the leg, and I mean, a lot have said to me before, why don't you just mirror it? Sadly, these are not perfectly symmetrical. So what we need to do is try and make fact and make sense out of what it is that we're getting. Coming from the front, the most important angle I can see at the point at these sketches is the lower ankle to the shin profile. I mean to the kneecap profile. So if we're moving inwards, which looking at that makes me think it moves outwards. Let's move outwards, because I'm not convinced with that. So I'll just go. The beauty is, in this case, I can easily make the changes. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just drawing that profile. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Just drawing that profile, bringing that across based on what I could see. Again, the issue is with it is if you look at that profile, the way it comes up, really you've got a curve here. So, I mean, arguably, should I not really have a curve across there? Maybe I should. So what I'll do is bring that across, and don't worry. I mean, I can probably feel the shrugs at the moment of everybody going, that doesn't look very right. It isn't right. So what I'm aiming to do is to try and get these to become as tangential to each other as possible to get that overall smoothness. Because the truth of it is when you buy anything, if it's a bit naff, if it's not smooth, you will struggle. Just because people are not happy with buying stuff that looks a bit shoddy. So it needs to remain as smooth as possible. So what I'll do with that is bring that down. And arguably you could say, you know, I mean, do you really not want that to be a little higher? But as far as getting this into position, it's a good start. I'm happy with that. You've got to remember, starting things like this is incredibly intimidating. But once you once you get past this frustration that you get, you kind of sit there and go, you know what, quite like that. Looks pretty cool. So it's about getting the foundations in your drawing set up. Once you get these in position, I swear to God, it is so easy. And it allows you to really start looking at a little bit more. So what I want to do is use these sketches now on the actual profile. So I'm going to go to features, curves, I'm going to go projected curve. And using the sketches, I can either go sketch on sketch. I don't want sketch on sketch. Obviously we're going to use sketch on sketch, but for that I don't at the minute. So I'm going to use that sketch. I'm going to go onto my profile and there. If I went the whole thing, you can see where it actually sits. I mean, really, you kind of look and go, does that not want to go all the way around? But I think it's a good start. I think it's a good start. So let's get on that. This point now, I don't want this body in vision, so I'm going to turn that off for the moment, just so I can actually see what I'm operating with. Okay, so let's turn off these sketches and planes. Swine, it's, come on, hide. Okay then, turn off the sketches and planes. There you go. Right, so what we can see there is, you're going to have to excuse me with this, it never plays ball with me with this, so, but what you can see is it has given me the sketches that I wanted, but it's just not quite, it's still a little bit lumpy. Now this is what you're going to get when you're operating with a predefined non-linearized body, so it is a random shape. And what you're aiming to try and do is to smooth that out as much as possible. So I'm going to go back to my sketches. What I really like to do though is use this as more of a construct. So I'm going to go 3D sketch and 3D sketch. Now what I'm going to try and do is essentially trace around this profile just to see if it can give me something a bit more smooth. So I'm going to use a spline. Now in this case, a spline is golden. Now I don't like, if you see there, you can see it just jumping randomly. Now I'm never the biggest fan of that. So I do this, you don't have to do this, but I do this to give me a bit more comfort. So I'm going to click onto the profiles there and also there, which it has done, and click OK. This now converts into a good solid sketch. I'm going to highlight all the sketches and go construction and click OK. And then confirm. And I'm actually going to turn off my curves completely. And now what I've got is something I can see, something I can operate with, and I just feel a bit happier, if I'm honest. So then I go back again. I'm going to go 3D sketch and bring in my spline. And then just look at tracing this. This profile now will become continuous. And what it will do in inconsistencies that I don't like, it should start to try and bend the profile so it becomes a bit more smooth. The issue is if I get to the end of this, click OK, you look and go, it's still exactly the same. I mean, it's actually not, it's actually pulled out that bit. So if I bring that down a little bit, can I? And bring that over a little bit, bring that down. See what we're getting there, it's just a little bit more smooth. Again, what I'm going to do is produce that, put that through the actual the build and see how it looks. I'm going to repeat the process again on my lower one here. This one's a bit different. I mean, what we're looking at is just a curve which is dictating about that profile. So if I click back again, I'm going to turn off that because that's my construction. What I could really do with doing is naming these, but for this demonstration it'll be fine. So I'm going to go loft, and this is just for me to judge what I'm getting. So I'll click on there, confirm, and then click on here and confirm. As a profile, as an initial profile, you look at the zebra stripes. They're not nicked, they're not twisted, they're concentric all the way down. That is a good, very good start. I quite like that, because you look at them profiles, you look at the deformations. Here you can see here it goes quite linearized to the front. So if I look there, you'll notice it does go quite linear. So what we really want to do is now try to pop it out, so to speak. What I really want though is I now want them profiles that really create that design of it. So what I'll do again is bring back in my body. So show my body. Show the body. It says show my body. It just sounds weird. I'll press Ctrl and 8. That goes normal to view on that profile. And I'm then going to go sketch. Now for this to work successfully, you must connect with the sketches. I'll show you what I mean. So if I go sketch and I'm going to go 3-point arc. This is because if we look back at the original shin, that is not a spline. That is continuations of 3-point arcs. You could put a spline on if you want. I mean, this week we've had some who've commented that they prefer to do splines, which is great. You know, I am not taking away from that, but it just depends where your comfort lies. So I typically go this way to try and show everybody a way of generating these key profiles, these key guidelines to make sure that you get what you're after, but it's a way of not having to use the spline, because it just depends. Some prefer it, some do not. So what I'll do is put that to there and bring that something like that. Maybe bring that up a little bit. Okay, I can live with that. Quite like that. So what I'll do is come back and I mean the side profile now is different. So if you look at this profile here, I'm going to go on sketch and then Ctrl and 8. This is where it can get confusing. You kind of look and go, oh no, which point do I go at? I like to spin it up. And what you can see here is we've got one that's already connected, and it's that upper one. So from there it's the top one that I need to be connecting to. It's what I'm aiming for. And just because I do like my curves, I do like my curves. When it comes to vehicles, I love I love a curve. I love curve with sharp profiles. So for me, the Audi R8, sharp curves. I mean, it has curves with sharp profiles. Any types of that types of design, I love it. Some of the Ferrari designs, definitely my bag, 100%. The new Scuba, I love the new Scuba. I'm not a great fan of Scubas, but I do love the new Scuba. And that is my bag, absolutely my bag. And so I do like a good curve. So because I can't see that side profile of the shin guard, I'm actually just adding a curve in there just because I'm being bold. So now we got these two profiles. I need to create the all important guide curve. So all I'll do is go features, curves, project a curve between sketches, you and you. There we go. And that is my very sophisticated curvy profile. I like that. Do like that. So if I go surfaces, go loft, and I'm going to bring that profile in, bring the second profile in, and then I'm going to go guide curves. And again, it's not going to be what we're after yet, but it does allow me to see that curve. Is that curve what I'm after? And for me personally, that is what I'm after. I love some of the body armours that have been produced that take the emphasis of the central point and then rise to the calf muscle. It gives almost that anatomic meets mechanical look. Some of them look very cool, very cool. If anybody's interested for when it comes to the Iron Man armour that I've created before, it is this exact profile, this exact method that I personally use. Because a lot of people have asked me, how do you get the curves, how do you get how do you get it to float, how do you get it to fit? And that's in essence, I've used my dummy body and then measured my own arm to make sure the ratio of it is sound, to make sure that anything I design will be around this. So I have like a digital representation of myself, and it allows me to operate that way. It's very, very cool. Right, so let's get back to it. So come back from the top again. Let's go sketch and sketch. Bring that round. And I'm going to be as bold to say I'm not even going to stick on the leg now. I pretty much know where I want to go. There's my calf. So with that, in any of these armours, they do not really tend to be symmetrical. And I mean, I can imagine what some of you are thinking by saying, well, it doesn't look like the actual shin guard. You're right, it doesn't look like the shin guard. But this is just me using a bit of an imaginative approach towards it. So now what we got is we get that. Now, you see here, can be my personal biggest mistake. I get so excited about doing these things that I kind of look and go, oh dear, I didn't mean to do that. But what we're getting now is the outside of the leg and then the calf of the leg. So spin that round, then come from the right. Now I could use that. Oh no, I couldn't. Look at that. No connection. So I'm going to go, where are we? There we are. So go sketch and sketch. I'm going to control and 8 that in. And I need to just see where I am. There. It's actually the back side of that. So it's actually there and that one. That is what I'm aiming for. So let's keep that profile. So I'm going to make it that all important curve to it. I mean, I could almost run almost linear to it, you know, and keep that connection there so it looks very similar. But I just want it to have that little bit of more individuality. So I'm just going to put that there. And what I'll do with that is connect on the two and make them tangent. So then what it should do is really have its own flow, which is what I'm after. So go features, curve, project a curve. I'm going to take that sketch and that sketch to create me my new profile. And then what we've got is a really I quite like, oh hang on, oh no, quite like that profile. It's different, it's very different. So let's go surfaces, let's go lofting. I'm going to bring that there to confirm, down to there to confirm. Then we're going to go guide curve here. Then we're going to go guide curve over here. Ooh. Now, not to praise myself too much, but I quite like that. Look at that. Hell, I'd put that on. But if you look there, we've still got that restriction. It comes inwards. Everybody knows that a good shin guard does not come inwards. You end up with a domed profile to the front. Because in essence, as much as I'm trying to do something that looks very aesthetically pretty, at the same time, I also want to do something which would serve the correct purpose. Now, the thing for me that concerns me here is, you see where my line sits. It's not really what I'd be after. I need to get a curve. I need to get an edge in here. There's a few ways I could do it. There's a key point there for me to operate to. So let's just try that. So what I'll do is come onto here and go 3D sketch. And I'm going to add there to there. And all that is there for is because I'm trying to stay away from 3D sketches, just because they're great, but they're also very quite problematic. They can be quite difficult to operate with. So I don't want to set people up. Right, so let's take a look at how this is looking. So there's a few things I could do. I could, in fact, let's try, because that's really got me as that one, because it's actually lying on a curve, which makes it even more tricky. So let's come from this sketch. That's where that's coming from. So what I'm going to do is just angle myself an edge, something like that. And now if I create a sketch on there, if I do, well, I could do anything now. Free to do anything I want now. If I go there, and with these, you don't want them to be too aggressive. I mean, you've got some that create almost air vents. They look pretty cool, but you do get some people who create air vents, and you can do if you want. All I'm going for is a very, very dictated type blown front. So again, I'll go surface, I'll go lofting, and I'll come here to here. Whoops. I'll go here. Confirm that. Go here, and I'm going to confirm that. Then I'm going to go my constraint curve to constraint curve, spin that around a little bit, and pop it out. And you kind of look, and I won't lie, quite happy with that. I could add more, but I do think that there's a point where you will. I mean, look at that. There does come a point where you need to look and go, well, you know, that's the point where I'm ready to move on. So, in any type of shin guard, one of the most important things within it is this exterior reinforced plating. In this case, sponge. So what we actually want to do is I'm going to come from my... Where are we? There we go. So I'm going to come from my front plane and then sketch. Control and A. And you could look and say, well, all these have been built up by multiple different curves. You could. So if I click there and go convert entity, if I just bring in convert entities and say convert that, and convert that, then click OK. This is nice, because now we've got a way to offset the profiles. However, if you look here, see this twist, this closeness, and these sharp angles here, the system may not like it, which is fine, we can operate with that. So I'll go an offset on, let's select by chain, I'll go 5mm offset, and we'll select on here. And if you look there, and if I go reverse, look at that, did the job. Click on there, and that is our first initial profile. So what we're going to do with that is great. So we're going to go curves, split line, and we're going to select that as a profile. Now you see how we got these double lines. It may not like it, but let's give it a go. Could be wrong. It's nice to be wrong sometimes. Very nice to be wrong sometimes. If you look now, we've now got 2 key profiles on it. Granted, I'm making this up because I really don't want to start setting everybody up to do an assignment and then I just mark I mark my own work. But what I'm going to do is create that offset with it. Because if you look at this picture, that is what you could argue is an offset. So what I'm going to do is create an offset on here. And it's definitely not 10mm. We'll just put it on 2. 2 is good to call. So we've got 2mm, and then I'm going to rip it. 2's quite chunky as well. So let's go 1. Oops, 1, and then confirm. Then what we got there is we've got that nice offset. Now the one thing to keep in mind when these things offset, they actually rule themselves based on the edging that it's coming from. So if I now go to delete face, delete the inside of the face, what we end up with is a gap all the way around. There's some very sophisticated and smooth ways of dealing with this quickly. So if I go boundary, I'm going to right click, selection manager, select by loop. So that is a loop. Same again. Select by loop. Done. And the whole thing is filled. I've got a curve turned on there, which I don't like, so hide and hide. Now, as ever, you're going to have to take a nice little bit of a journey around the actual part, make sure that there's nothing illegal on it, make sure everything's right. From what I can see, it is right. What I'd like to do is now knit all this together. So if I knit all that together, and then merge the entities to create that profile. And what that does is it creates me an exterior part. Now granted, I'm sure everybody will look and go, well, does that all not need tidying up? You're right, it does need tidying up. And I'm not going to sit here and just keep tidying all this up to make it as smooth as possible, or else again, what I end up doing is marking my work and not yours. What I would say though is a good way to move forwards. So if I just bring all this all the way back up to there, and I'm now going to go back to my offset again, offset inwards by 1mm, bring all that back down, again go to boundary, right click, select by loop, right click, select by loop, 3, 2, 1. Big profile. You look there, see where that's happened. If you get this that happens, you can come away and go, oh, damn it. But right click on it, flip the connectors. Oh, look at that. It's still not happy with it. That is going to take some more building, I think. So I'm going to flip the connectors again. And then I'm going to see if I can roll this round and bring it in line with that edge. Like that. Yeah, it struggled when it's come round. That's a pain. It is a pain. Can't be helped, but it is a pain. So what you could do, many ways of doing this, you could systematically build this up. So if I come back, right click, selection manager, and I'm going to go by line, that line, that line, bloody hell, that line, that line. Oh, look at that, doesn't like me selecting them. Yeah, it doesn't like me selecting it, so I'm going to have to go by group. Now the trouble is with group, is you look and go, oh, God, I've got to select them all one by one. So click OK on that for a group. Right click, select them there. Select that as a group, and then construct. And now, as much as a solid piece as that looks, it is actually a surface. And what I'm asking you to do in your assignment is to build on that, is to keep going on that, is to keep looking at what you're doing there. And what I'll be doing is really assessing the meticulous detail that you go to, the methodologies that you're going to use to try and sharpen your answer as much as possible, and to get the most accurate representation of what we're doing. You'll know that every single part that I've set for you is tricky, and none of it is straightforward, and it's almost a little bit frustrating in many ways. Right, so that is getting started with the body, and you can see there I started it. All you have to do is go all the way around to seal that up, and then that is your surface model of, well, it's my surface model of the shin. You could do more, and there is a lot more, because all I've been doing is roughly basing it around something like that. You could do an awful lot more. This would need trimming out, this would need tidying up quite a bit. But as far as getting that profile running, as far as getting the sketches into position, it is dead straightforward and dead easy to do it. Again, apologies, I've had to redo this again, but it's just because I didn't hit microphone again. Schoolboy error, am I right? Right, so I'm going to close that and have a crack at that. And the other thing that I did was the aircraft. Right, so we did the arm, we looked at the arm, we looked at what was going on with the arm, and now what I'm going to quickly do is go into setting up the aircraft, if that's what you're after. So what I'm going to do is go blueprint.com, or the blueprints I should say. So into the blueprints.com, and I'm going to go aircraft. In fact, can I actually pull that directly? No, I can't. No, I cannot. 777, like it. So what I'll do then is I'll go 777, and I'm going to need just a JPEG, something for me to operate with. Let's have a look at this one. It's any good. I don't really like this because you see this tilt. I want to try and simplify my life as much as possible. I don't want to make it as complicated as possible, so I'm just going to find the most adequate thing for me to operate with. You see, my first though is this is a drawing. It's not a bad move forwards. But it's vector. Vector in this case is not going to do you any good. Please do not use vectors, as they're only going to promote as much problems as what they're. Well, they're just going to promote more and more problems. Oh, look there. That's a nice one. Nice example. So what I'll do is I'm going to right click, go to save image, go to my desktop. Well, I'm going to save it to my downloads, as I've just noticed there's already one there. I personally like to use Visio. Visio is a really good tool and it's massively underrated. So this is a Microsoft product. All students do have access to this, so give it a go. I use this for all my images that I produce for publications, anything like that. I'm a great fan of it. So I'm going to insert. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and set this up so I can start to get some sort of realism to it. So I'm going to copy. I need 3 of these, by the way. And what I'll do is bring this up, go crop, bring this across to about there, and then crop that up to about there, bring that up to there. And then I'm going to come back again and I'm going to go crop, bring this back down, and then bring this across to something like that. Like that. And that then gives me my first initial state, so then I'll just crop on there. And I'm just after what will be front view, side view and top view. This will then allow me to start putting these out as a bit of a blueprint guidance. Please, for the love of God, do not treat these as the only way to do it. These often come in and they're slightly wrong. They could be better. There's always little bits and bats. I'm just going to call it top. It can be really frustrating because you can go through all the drawing and go, it's not actually quite right, and it's a very common thing. So don't use these too much for gospel truth. Use these for a good proportion. Absolutely use these for a good proportion, because these will really, really help you in making sure that your development, your drawings are correct. Again, all I'm just doing is I'm outputting each image as an independent JPEG, because SolidWorks, like Inventor, does prefer to operate in JPEG format. It's just easier and it drops on the level of computation that it needs for the graphics. So let's just keep that as it is. So drop that out. What I'll do is close and I'm back into SolidWorks. Just going to go new and part. Come from the top, go to sketch, go insert, tools, sketch tools, sketch picture, and I came from the top if you remember, so go sketch, go from the top and then go okay. Image comes in. It's going to be a little bit all over the place, but this is quite nice. We choose whereabouts this is going to be set up. I'll probably stay in this format, so I'll bring this down and then just bring this across a little bit to roughly around there. Again, this is just a guidance, so don't shoot the messenger, so to speak. So then I'll come out there and I'm just going to quickly rename that as top image. Again, come from the, in this case you'll see it's actually now been shifted, so that's the right plane. So that in this case is going to be my front plane. Arguably I should have just flipped the image around, but it allows me to just show you this for this particular demonstration. If I spin it up now, and then you kind of see there that the image comes in, it's a little bit all over the place, but if I aim for the center of the nose, roughly to the center of the nose, to be sitting where the datum is, it gives me a rough area for what I want to operate to. So I'm just going to come from the right plane and pop it across and just bring it down ever so slightly, zoom that in a little bit more, right to it, and then aim for it around this area. I mean, arguably maybe more this area, and then click OK. And then if I spin it up, what you'll start to find is that we're getting something a little bit more like it. And again, just going to rename that and call that front image. Then finally come from the front plane. Again, I should have just flipped the sketch around. It would have made life a little less confusing. Come from the sketch and now go for my side image. And based on the side image, you can see where the datum's sitting. So because I'm aiming around this datum, it kind of tells me where all the other images are. So bring this down, zoom this in a little bit. By the way, I did have some who started from the base and used the datum as being the base. It's not a bad idea. So I'll bring this in, and it's about there, something like that. And if I click OK, then confirm on there, rename this as side image, and flip it round. Whoops! Yeah, that weren't working out so well, was it? So let me just bring this in, bring it to there. There we go. So now what we got is we have some good cross-sectional imagery that we can operate to. With this now, I can start to look to generating this a little bit more. So if I click there, Control and 8, zoom that little bad boy right in there, and you see there, it looks like a 3-point arc. Arguably, it could be a 3-point arc, but if you look again, kind of go 3-point arc, secondary 3-point arc with a tangential relationship. Use that as my data marker for the start, bring that in, and then if you look there, and then if I bring that to there, you look and you, oops, wrong button, you look, and if you look closely, you can actually see what I mean. So if I just bring that down a little bit, and then if I put that there, and then say, right, make you and you tangential, and then bring this down a little bit more. Ooh, I mean, you look, and you, I mean, I'm not that far off. You can't shoot me that badly, but I'm not that far off. Arguably, you look and you kind of go, is that not another 3-point arc sitting right there? Yeah, I would say yeah, it could very well be. It's not so damn far off though. What I'll do is put on a construction line. I'm going to reap the benefits of doing this. So I mean, it's symmetrical. Why not? So I'm going to come here and use my construction line as my point of reference, and there we go. That's our first guidelines. Nice. So now, whoops, spinning myself all over the shop here. Now, what I want to do is I want to try to establish the next point of reference for this. Really, I mean, perhaps I should be really aiming more towards the nose cone itself. So I'll come from what will be my right plane. That's what I mean, I've messed things up there a little bit, but I can still do what I need to do, but yeah, could have done that a little bit better. Easily, 3-point arc. Arguably, is that symmetrical? Who knows? But let's go 3-point arc. We're coming from the datum, so we're going to use this to our advantage. And then I'm bringing that round. The trouble is, if you look at my nose cone, instantly, if anybody's looking, instantly you can kind of see right there that is more a bumped effect. So if I just get rid of that for a minute, bring that into, let's say more there, because you bring that into there, and then you tap the lower tip right up to the nose, but then you want to pop it out, you can start to see that beak type effect appearing, which is pretty good, like that. So now that's what we got. What I'm going to do is go into my images and turn them all off for the minute. And when you actually look at what we got, oh, I know why it was going out in the wrong direction. My 3D mouse was facing the wrong way. Right, so when you look at that, this is quite good. I'm quite impressed with myself. I think I'm going to do well in this assignment. I'm going to stop laughing at my own jokes. Right, so what I'm going to do is try and create the nose itself. I'll go from here. I'm going to go to plane. And I'm just going to create an offset which is based on just these two. I'd like to be able to create a profile now which ties in all these others. So I'll go on sketch, and then let's go to 3-point arc, and let's bring the arc into there, and then go U, point, pierce, point, target, pierce. Okay, sweet, sweet, looking good. The thing is, I don't think that's just a straight 3-point arc. I mean, arguably, is it? Who knows? Okay, let's come back. So I'll go there, 3-point arc, bring that round, and then we'll do it again. So we'll choose this line, you choose this point, we'll choose this line as our target, pierce that in, choose the same thing again, line, point, and pierce. Oh, look at what you could have won. I don't like it when it complains. Something complains, you kind of go, oh, that's not good. Not good at all. So, now the thing is with the nose cones from aircraft, everybody knows that these nose cones, this tangential relationship across here. So I'm going to press Control on there and on there and see what it does. Oh, look at that. Now it's made that tangential relationship, but what I need these to be is symmetrically balanced. So I'm going to say here and make these equal. There we go. That now gives us that nice nose behavior. And what I'm going to do is bring this into here, across to here, and then this into here and across to here. That's all I'm doing there, because what I'm gonna have to play around here, because the truth of it is I don't know how well this is going to connect with this profile. I mean, I'm pretty confident it's going to do its job. Of course I'm confident it's going to do its job, but just want to make sure it's going to do what I really want it for. So the relationship coming from the 3-point arc towards the fixed defined one, I'm going to make that tangent, and I'm going to make this one to here also tangent, and we're going to end up with like a thin area here that raises up from our aircraft nose. Now I don't need the plane now, so I'm going to hide that, and you kind of look and go, okay, it's not a bad start. So let's start by taking a look. So go filled surface for a start, come to here. Does the constraints of the filled surface do the job? And the answer is... Come on, come on, come on, come on. Is it going to do it? I don't think this is going to work, but... Not with that attitude. Yeah, so that didn't do the job that I was after. So let's go loft. Bring this to here. And can I bring you in as a point? No, I can't. So let's go selection manager. Selection onto you. Oh, no, I don't want that neither. Let's go grouping. Yeah. Okay. So this is really down to this relationship across here. Now, there's a few ways that we can start to really try and fix this. Let's see if I can do a boundary and then do a selection manager and choose that and that. Click OK. Then choose that and that and that. Then go OK. And then choose that and that. Okay. Oh, God, I could have won. And if I right click selection manager, I want to bring in this in. Is it going to let me? This is where it's going to start to really get mad with me. Yeah, yeah. Not happy with me doing it that way, so let's just try and bring that out. Delete. Right click selection manager. Let's try bringing the both of them in as one particular profile. It's because that they're protruding through, and it's just saying, look, you know, you're not really adhering to the rules of what you're asking me to do, so that's not really going to work for you. So what I could do, I mean, I'm just really being lazy if I'm honest. If I go step and then go point to there like that, and then go this point and this point, make that coincident, and then go OK. And then if I go surface, I go loft between this point to that point, and that's what it gives me. I know it's not very clear to see exactly what I've actually drawn there, but if I come back on here and then click on there, see there, it's starting to pop it out. But as much as it's me farting around and messing around to try and get that all-important angle that I'm after, because let's face it, it's all about getting them angles that you're after. Oh, look at that. Oh, that is actually beautiful. So if I come back again and then come to my lower point here as well, pop that in. Yep, that's really starting to grab that profile for me. This lower one I do need to re-examine. So I'm going to come back up to my sketch and delete that completely. And then go selection manager. Can I force you to pop out? Nice. Now you see there where I've got it broken into two. This is possibly what went wrong with it. Oh, it's just not happy with me doing that. I mean, but if I just confirm that, as much as that point's there, we know that that needs to be popped out. That is very close to the profile that we're after. If I just come back onto that, and what I'll do for this, just because I want to see what the upper profile looks like, I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to try and bring that in through selection. You see, that didn't even do the job. That's disappointing. Let's try boundary. I mean, boundary for me, I love boundary. I think boundary as a tool is phenomenal. So I'll go loop. That is a loop. Okay. And then we'll bring in, I'm going to use the design tree on this case, because that just allows me to pop it down. Then I come on to the directions. The directions tool in this case is amazing. There, that is what I was looking for. You see that curve, that deformation there? We've even got the little tip that appears on the nose, just the tip. And then if I come to the lower side here, it may play. Is it going to play? Look at that. Look at that beauty. Oh, I tell you, I'm going to get a first class. I've got to laugh at my own jokes. No one else does. So I'll pop that onto there, and oh my goodness. You know what? I should teach this. I really should. And if I click onto there and then click OK, and then when you look at that flow around what we're after, I'm pretty confident that that is a very good move forwards towards something a bit more like what we're after. Granted, this point it may be a bit too sharp. I could change that, I could upgrade that, change that a little bit, but I am very confident that that's a good move forward. So if we just, for argument's sake, bring back our elements back in. Oh, that was a head doer. Bring our elements back in, and I'll drop the front plane, and you look and you go, okay, yeah. You come from the top, you go, you'd have to check that, but I'm pretty happy with that move forwards. Right. So the thing is now is what we've got is that is the beginnings of the assignment. Gets first balls rolling. Again, apologies guys for actually not recording this from the start. I am quite keen to help you guys get going. This is why I recorded it again. It's a kick in the face, and I get that, so apologies. But anyway, so it's all sorted, and give it a go. See how you get on. Any issues, do get in touch. Drop me a line. More than happy to help. Other than that, if I don't speak to you soon, I will see you in the class. See you all later.